If you've ever wanted a fully stocked pantry without blowing your grocery budget, this one is for you. I'll show you how to build your bulk pantry 1 month at a time. We're gonna go over what to buy, how to spend under $50 a month stocking your shelves, plus how to turn it all into delicious meals for your family. The first question I often get asked when talking about buying in bulk is, why would you need to build a bulk pantry and how can you do it without breaking the bank? And those are things that I want to cover here for you today. The main reason to build a bulk pantry for me is that I have food security and I'm also locking in today's prices. So as they continue to increase in the future, I've already made that purchase at a lower price for my family and my home. Now we're gonna break this down into a monthly buying plan, which will help you to control cost, but also help you reduce waste and add variety. Now you might be wondering why we're going with a monthly plan. The main reason is that monthly pacing works because of affordability, waste reduction, and variety. We're gonna add a few new basics to your shelves every single month so that you're not overwhelmed all in the beginning. This also gives you a chance to fully examine what your family loves, what they don't like, and how you can control that waste moving forward. I was recently on Facebook and we were chatting with some friends about how it is so hard to afford to buy bulk groceries. And that made me really think that some people assume that these basic staples are really expensive. So I'm gonna show you today how many of them are less than a cost of a bag of potato chips and will take you way further into your grocery budget and pantry than you would ever imagine. I'm also gonna help you build a system that works for your space. I understand fully that not everyone has a kitchen and the space that I do or a pantry that they can dedicate to storing their extras. I didn't have that for a very, very long time. The one thing that I have seen over the years and done myself even is to reclaim closet space. Maybe it's a coat closet or a hall closet or a back closet that's not being used for anything that you really need right now. Maybe it's just storage. But take that space or even use the space underneath your bed with some flat sliders that roll underneath to store your food anywhere you can. I actually also have a friend who's utilized a corner of her dining room to add extra shelving and put that space right in the corner where she needs it in her kitchen. So whatever space you can claim for your food storage will really be rewarded long-term, way more than some old clothes that you haven't worn since high school. Now, when it comes to purchasing in bulk, I like to buy the majority of my ingredients in 25-pound bags. And I know in the beginning that seems like a ton, but once you start really adopting this lifestyle and how you're cooking with your family all the time, you'll go through those faster than you think. So the way that I store them is in a food grade bucket, and I have several that have these spinning gamma lids. These lids are totally not necessary, but they do help to seal out air as well as moisture. Now these buckets and lids I actually purchased through Azure Standard, but there are also other hardware stores that you can get them from. I think Tractor Supply sells them if I'm not wrong. I didn't like the branding of Tractor Supply on my bucket, so I went with the plain white ones from Azure. When you get them 12 at a time, you save money on them as well. Same with the lids. The more you buy, the more you save. That is the entire theme of bulk purchasing. If you are getting started and you don't want to spend money on buckets, I completely understand. When I first got started with this style of buying, I went up to our local grocery store that has a bakery and asked them if they had any spare buckets. I have heard that Walmart often sells them, or any local not chain affiliated grocery store is a really good way to look as well, or even check with local bakeries. They actually get all of their icing in white food grade buckets. So it really helps. They have a variety of sizes and sometimes they're more square, but you can get those. Sometimes they'll give them to you for free. I think the last time I picked them up from the grocery store, they charged me $0.25 each and it came with a lid. So please, please, please don't look at items like this and think you have to make big purchases from the beginning. You can really be resourceful and get everything that you need without breaking the bank. For the first month on my buying plan, I want you to buy flour, salt, sugar, rice, and beans. Now there are many kinds of beans, there are many kinds of flour, and there are several different kinds of salt. You don't need them all. Get an all-purpose flour to start, or if you do a lot of bread baking, you can consider some bread flour. But most traditionally, when somebody's starting out with bulk goods, they don't do a lot of baking yet. So let's get all-purpose, just some regular salt. I purchase real salt, which is a sea salt mined out in Utah. But whatever salt that you can purchase that is a clean salt will be a really good thing you can add to your canning, you can add to your baking, and you won't have any issues with it. One thing you do want to avoid when purchasing salt in bulk, in my experience, is something with an anti-caking agent. You want pure salt. The reason is, if you have a very pure salt, you can add it to your canning jars and not have any concern if that's something that you like to do as well. It makes one salt a lot more versatile, and you don't have to buy another product when you're going to can. Plus, it's just cleaner. Now, there are also many different locations we need to talk about as far as where to buy your bulk goods. If you are a Sam's Club or Costco member, you can usually get great deals there. This first month of items that I have selected cost anywhere from $30 to $45 to get these very basic items from those stores. But many of you don't have that membership and you don't want to pay for one, or you're not close to one. And I totally can't blame you for leaving that alone. So in that situation, I would check with Amazon. Now, they are great because you don't usually have to pay the big prices to have those items delivered to you. Plus, they're usually there in just a day or two, and you can add 1 or 2 items throughout the month as you go without any extra problems. Now, when it comes to beans, I personally recommend starting with a pinto bean. You can use them for so many different applications, and they're usually pretty easy to integrate. And if your kids don't like them in meals, you can easily blend them up and make something along the lines of a refried bean to add to things like chili that'll just help work as a thickener, plus add the protein without them easily being spotted in your meal. As your budget allows and time goes on, you can add other beans that your family enjoys. We keep black, red kidney, as well as the pinto beans here, and I find that's a really, really nice mix for us. Now, I know some people are intimidated by dry beans, and there are multiple different ways you can cook them. You could, of course, soak them overnight and do them on the stovetop, but you can also throw them in your Instapot, and they're done in no time. Another of my favorite ways to handle dry beans is to can them up, which is easier than you think, and put them on your shelves in the jars so they're already canned, soft, and ready to go at a moment's notice. This works well for my family because I don't often plan ahead long enough in advance to make something right away. So if you're like me and you like that option, you can do that as well. If you aren't interested in dry beans, you can always add some canned beans. With that said, you will spend more to get them in a can. It's over double actually, to get them in a can already than if you were to purchase them and make them on your own at home. Now, I've told you about 2 of the ways that I shop, which are Amazon as well as Sam's Club or Costco. But the third way I like to shop is actually my favorite, and that's to use Azure Standard. I use Azure to get all of my bulk goods, and I actually just cut the labels off of their giant bags, and I put those labels right on my bucket so I know exactly what I have down in the basement. Now, Azure is really cool. It's like a co-op, but there's no fee associated. All of the groceries are put together in Oregon and then trucked across the country in a cold truck that has a freezer section and a chill section to where we get all of the food delivered to us once a month at a local drop location. If you're not familiar with Azure, I will put my link down below. I cannot recommend it enough if buying organic is important to you. Not only do we leave out the middleman because there's no grocery store actually handling the ingredients, but they are able to give us great prices because they don't have those extra expenses of a brick and mortar location. It does take a little bit of flexibility out of your day, but if you're interested in trying them out, there's usually a friend or family member that is local enough that can go to the drop, or check with your drop coordinator to see who might be able to help you arrange different pickup times if you're unable to make the one associated with your specific drop. I have used them for years now, and I have saved an absolute insane amount of money by purchasing the majority of my items in bulk through them because bulk organics can often be expensive. We also get a lot of our dairy products like cheese and butter from them as well, and we're able to buy super high quality because of the way that we shop in bulk for everything else that we get in the house. Overall, I just can't stress enough the idea of not shopping at your small little mom and pop grocery stores. Here in town, even for a box of cream cheese, for example, I pay double what I can get it for at Sam's. Or things like bagels or any of those things that you're picking up, you can usually save at least half by looking for a bulk purchasing option. And while that might seem like more expense right up front, in the long run, it really pays off once you have the bulk of these goods stocked, which you can do in as little as 4 to 6 months with this buying plan. Now, occasionally when I'm moving around my buckets, I can kind of get a crick in my back or twist something. So my recommendation is to make sure you put your bucket in a good location and dip your food into the bucket or have somebody else help you, and make sure to just go back to that place instead of moving your buckets around frequently if you struggle with neck or back pain. For me, this is something I've dealt with for years because I was a cheerleader in high school and we dropped somebody right on my neck in the middle of a stunt. So as a result, I've dealt with neck and back pain for quite a while, and I have to say that one of my favorite ways to deal with that is the Easy Back Go Neck and Back Massager from my good friends at Bob and Brad, who happen to be the sponsor of today's video. If you suffer from back pain, neck pain, or tension in your calves or in your legs, this massager is for you. It's lightweight, it's versatile, and it's super easy to use. It comes with heat and 2 different massaging levels of pressure, so you can dial in exactly what works well for you. My favorite part is it is on demand. I don't have to make an appointment and go in somewhere. I can pull this out day or night, use it while I'm on the go at a ball game or in an office chair while I'm editing these videos. This massager, coming in under 3 pounds, is so versatile and lightweight that I can carry it with me anywhere that I'm needing that extra relief. And I know some of you are thinking that I probably have people that can rub my back for me, but I am such a delicate flower when it comes to massage. I don't like deep pressure or pain. So when I can take something like this and adjust the settings and how much I'm pressing on the unit itself, I find that I get a much more consistent, relaxing massage. And of course, with Bob and Brad being put together by 2 physical therapists, they know exactly what they're doing when they're giving us these devices to help us with pain and discomfort. With the holidays just around the corner, I cannot recommend this thing enough. So make sure to go ahead and check the link in the description and grab yours today at the sale price before it's gone. I also want to say a big thank you again to my friends at Bob and Brad for making today's video happen. And now let's jump back into stocking our pantry. Now for month 2, we're going to get back to the basics and look at things like oil, vinegar, oats, baking powder, baking soda, and yeast. Now this is a small list, but it packs a big punch and really adds a lot of versatility to your kitchen. There are many different types of oils on the market. We personally like to use a lot of tallow and lard, which I am able to render for free from the pigs that we pick up or the beef that we pick up every year. But if that isn't something that you have the advantage of doing, look for things like olive oil, coconut oil, or even avocado oil if you're interested in the future for making things like homemade mayonnaise and all of the extras that go along with it. Avocado oil, while a little bit more expensive, does have a super high smoke point, so it works better for things than olive oil does if you're going to be using a higher heat. For vinegar, I love to keep 2 different kinds. I keep a plain white vinegar, which you can easily get in gallons from Sam's Club. And the other vinegar that I like to keep is Bragg's apple cider vinegar with mother in it because it has added health benefits and it also adds a nice flavor to all of our recipes. Baking soda, baking powder, and yeast will come in really handy as you're learning to bake and using a lot of those basics that you already picked up last month, like your flour, to go ahead and make some awesome creations in your kitchen. Again, the overall budget for this month is coming in under $50, depending on the type of oil and how much you purchase. You can spend more or less on this, and any month I want to stress that you already have the items on my list. Make sure to go ahead and flex and pull in maybe some additional items that you wanted or varieties from the month before, or jump forward to the next month's, which you'll be able to see all down in the description for you when you finish this video. For month 3, we're going to bulk up your proteins and your freezer items. I love canned meats. And I know for a lot of you that might be kind of a controversial statement or something you completely disagree with. But what I find is that home canned meats have an entirely different flavor profile than the ones you can pick up in the store. Although I went decades using canned chicken to make quick and easy recipes in my home and still use canned salmon today. So find your favorite canned meats or dried meats if that's something that you're interested in. Think about things like bulk chicken, canned tuna, and peanut butter this month. Now, as far as chicken goes, I recommend getting the whole fryer. You can do so many things from this and really put it to work for your family in ways that will stretch far beyond the one first meal. Save the carcass and save the backbone and the bones. Use those things to make stock from your leftover scraps from the produce that we're going to be adding in months coming forward. And then you're not purchasing things like stock because you have all the ingredients to make them. I can take a chicken and stretch it into so many different meals. So if that's something that you're interested in seeing more of, make sure to let me know with the comment down in the description. I would love to help you out and answer any questions that you have and provide whatever content will help you on your journey to a well-stocked pantry. Now, real quick before we move on, I also want to talk to you about rotation. When we are adding these canned goods, we want to make sure that the newest are going to the back and that you're always pulling from your oldest stock first. This rotation system will help make sure that nothing is going bad and this money doesn't go to waste. So making sure to add first in, first out as your principle and putting those new items to the back will really help you with your pantry management. For month 4, we're working on sauces, condiments, and flavorings. Tomato products, broth, soy sauce, honey, and spices. If you're interested in bulk spices, this is the time when we're going to add those in. I will attest to you that purchasing spices in bulk and making your own blends for things like taco seasoning, fajita seasoning, and chili seasoning will not only make sure that you rarely run out of anything that you need at any given time, but it will also save you a lot of money because you can mix all of those different same ingredients in different combinations and make all of those same exact blends. Now, I get most of my spices either from Azure or from Frontier Co-op, which I purchased on Amazon. I love both of them and I find that they're great quality. I will caution you, make sure you're not buying a pound of bay leaves, for example. A pound of a leaf, any type, whether it be like oregano or parsley, all of those leaves are going to be a lot more of a pound, a bigger size portion, than if you're looking at things like peppercorns or cinnamon. So those heavier items you want to buy a larger quantity of, but the light items, the things that are leaves, make sure to get them in a smaller amount. Otherwise, you'll be trying to work through a pound of oregano or parsley or bay leaves for years. So ask me how I know. They still taste great, but I would have rather not stored so much at one time. So I'm just putting that out there as a great tip for anyone looking forward to a stocked pantry in the future. Don't do what I did. Do not order pounds of leaves. For month 5, we're gonna move into produce and long-term storage items. This is where you're gonna think about things like potatoes, garlic, onions, and winter squash. The shelf life of these items, if kept in a cool, dark place, is really, really incredible. I have had potatoes and onions and all of those things that last for months. When I'm storing my onions, I have 2 different methods that really come in handy. One is that I put them in pantyhose and tie them in between. And the second way is to go ahead and chop them up. If you have a bunch, put them in freezer bags and throw them in your freezer. That makes meal prep so easy when you take the time to just prep some of those bulk items in advance and you don't have to peel an onion or chop your garlic or something of the kind every time you're ready to make a meal. So those little tips really help to make the time in the kitchen much more enjoyable when you're using scratch ingredients and working in a scratch kitchen. I recently started using this chopping device that I'm showing you now, and it has really made this process way easier, and I can do things like medium dice, small dice, make slices or shred. So this has been a workhorse when it comes to my meal prep, and I will make sure to link that down below because it has been a great asset in our kitchen. Month 6. This one is for your extras and your comfort items. And for some of you, you might say, like, I can't wait 6 months on my coffee. Now keep in mind, I'm not asking you to wait 6 months on any of these things. We're simply moving toward your smaller purchases that are more expensive to bigger bulk items and selections as the month go forward in these specific categories. If you need to move something to the front to prioritize your life and your family, definitely do it. This month, we're talking about coffee, tea, cocoa, snack bases, baking extras like chocolate chips or nuts, which really help when you're making your own granolas at home to give your kiddos a delicious, healthy snack that you are making from your basics. This is where you're gonna come into all of those extras that help keep the morale around the house a little higher. My kids specifically love to keep chocolate chips around. We don't keep other candies around, but when I can give them a pure chocolate chip or something of the kind for a little sweet treat on occasion, we do keep those around just for that purpose. So to bring it all together and to show you what it takes to take these items from pantry to plate, I'm gonna show you a few quick ways that I incorporate all of these meals into delicious things that my kiddos love to eat and that are family favorites around our house. Firstly, we've been making sourdough bread around here, so that is always a big hit. I love to pair it with soup or even hearty meals like roast and potatoes. Chili and taco soup. We're heading into the fall. What more could you ask for than a delicious hearty soup? And when you're using things like beans and like vegetables to stretch these meals a little bit further, it always helps to cut down on the price over throwing a whole bunch of ground beef, for example, or other beef proteins into your dish. We also love roasting a whole chicken. I prefer to spatchcock it. If you're not familiar, that's where you cut the backbone out so the chicken lays flat on your pan. This allows you to cook it way faster, plus it gets more of that skin crispy, which all of my kiddos tend to jostle over who gets the best piece. So roasted chicken and vegetables is a big hit. Also, taco bowls with homemade tortillas. I love to use my sourdough discard for this. It's a great way to use that up, but also makes the most flavorful, soft tortillas. So all of those things you can find videos to on my channels, and I'll make sure to link some of those for you down below. So my encouragement for you today is to start small. Even if it's just one of these items every single week, those steps will add up. You might not have a fully stocked pantry in 6 months at that pace, but you will make drastic strides toward cutting your overall grocery budget and incorporating a lot more scratch homemade foods in your house. I will have all of these items for you next week over on my sister channel, The Hometown Homestead. We're gonna restock the canned meats, the canned beans, make some stock, and more. So if that's interesting, make sure to head on over there and make sure to give that channel, as well as this one, a like and subscribe before you leave. I wanna thank you for stopping by. I hope this has made a difference and encouraged you to try out bulk buying, regardless of where you're starting with your budget.